Oh hey, why am I a flaming redhead all of a sudden? Because I'm having an existential crisis and I'm taking it out on my hair. So as I was preparing for a poetry slam I have coming up this weekend.
What's a poetry slam?
It's a spoken word poetry competition.
Poetry? Isn't that what dead people wrote?
Yes, but it's also the fire that pours out of my soul.
That sounds weird.
It is. If by weird you mean awesome.
Okay, Grace, will you just get to the point?
Right. So part of preparing for a poetry slam is memorizing the poems I write. Usually, memorization comes easily to me. Like I just read the poem out loud once and after I hear it, it's pretty much in there. Shout out to all my auditory learners. We remember stuff we hear. Like all the stupid things we've ever said. Anywho, sometimes my read it once approach totally fails me, and I need to bring out the big guns. This got me thinking. These techniques might be useful for other people trying to memorize stuff. Like for a play or a speech or a class presentation or whatnot. So if you need to memorize stuff and you need to bring out the big guns, I hereby present to you my top 10 tips and strategies for total memorization. Tip number 1. Okay, so it's like everyone in my house has decided to shower right now, and I don't know if you guys can hear the showering, but if you can, I apologize. The struggles of cohabitation. Tip number 1. Break up whatever you have to memorize into small chunks or sections. You know what's terrifying? A full page of single-spaced text. You know what's not so terrifying? A paragraph. You know what's even less terrifying? A sentence. By breaking whatever you have to memorize up into sections, you make the task of memorizing seem less daunting and insurmountable. You also get the sense of satisfaction that comes with finishing each section. Satisfaction is important. Tip number 2. If you have lines in a scene or piece with other people, highlight them with a highlighter right now. Not only will this make your lines pop out at you and grab your attention, but the act of highlighting actually helps you commit text to memory. Tip number 3. Always practice out loud. When you practice in your head, you're training your head to remember the words, but you're not training your mouth to say the words. If your goal is to say the words, then you need to practice by saying the words. This will ensure that you turn that text into muscle memory. Plus, if you're an auditory learner like me, you'll get to hear the text more times, which means more stickage in your brain, which is always a good thing. Tip number 4. Practice standing up. I can't tell you how many times I've learned my lines either sitting down or even lying down, and I had them down. But then I got up on stage, and since I had never practiced them standing up, I got really disoriented and the lines just flew out of my head. Don't let this happen to you. Practice holding your body the way you will be holding your body in the performance or presentation or whatever you have to memorize for. Tip number 5. Record your own lines and listen to them. Again, if you're an auditory learner, but even if you're not, it can't hurt to smash those lines into your brain as often as possible. Like when you're driving, or cleaning, or hanging out with your cat. Let your lines invade your personal space as much as possible. That's how you really get them in there. Tip number 6. Record your cues. Obviously, this only applies if you're in a piece with other people, so if you're not, you can just go ahead and skip this one. But if you are, you're going to record all the lines in the scene that aren't your own, and then you're going to leave spaces where your lines would go. You've just created a digital line running buddy that you can hang out with anytime you want to run lines. Which brings me to tip number 7. Get a line running buddy. Someone who can read your cues for you. They can also give you a line if you forget your line. Which you won't, because by now you should be feeling pretty darn memorized. Do you feel it? Do you feel the memorization happening? Tip number 8. Speed run your lines. This is kind of like jogging with ankle weights on. You're making the task harder than it really is, so that by the time the event rolls around, the actual task feels easy. This is also a great technique for when you're rehearsing really emotionally intense material and you don't want to put full emotion into every repetition, because let me tell you, that gets real exhausting real fast. Try speed running your lines 5 times, like as fast as you can say them, and then try doing them at normal speed. See how much easier that is? That is the power of the speed run. Tip number 9. I can't hold my pinky like that. Tip number 9. If there's a line you keep messing up on, go back to the last paragraph and run all of that, not just the line that's tripping you up. It's easy to fix a trouble zone when you're zeroing in on it, but when you put it back in the context of the whole piece, you might just mess it up again. Prevent this by focusing on the chunk of text around the problem area instead of just the problem itself. Tip number 10. Take a break. If you've been running lines for a while and you start to feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and overloaded with information, that's because you are. Stop overloading yourself and take a breather. Your brain does best with small, manageable bits of new information at a time, so don't try to shove everything in at once. Chill, breathe. Your brain will thank you. Alright, those are my top 10 tips for memorizing performance-related stuff. Which one of these tips do you think would work best for you? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you next time. Unless I die of a panic attack at this poetry slam.
Grace, you can't die of a panic attack.
Really? Because it kind of feels like you can.
Okay, but you can't.
Stop invalidating my feelings!